All right, so welcome everyone to the June Akri community meeting. We abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, and this meeting will be recorded and uploaded to the Days Labs YouTube channel. So if you don't consent, feel free to hop off. So first things first, I put the HackMD in the meeting chat. If you can just put your name and company down in the attendee section, that would be great. So the first announcement that I kind of have is that the KubeCon North America, which will be in November this year, and it'll be held in Chicago. The call for proposal deadline is actually next Sunday, June 18th. And so, if anyone has any like ideas for maybe a talk for Akri, we can discuss that. I didn't have any really ideas quite yet. If so, the way it works is that we can like put in a proposal now, and we just have to make sure that if we need to do any work on Akri or demo, it just needs to be completed by November. So it doesn't need to be work that's already completed. But if anyone has any ideas, we can talk about it. And also, I think we should talk about eventually whether we would want to try to get a booth at the Project Pavilion this year as well. Because as you know, we had one in Europe, and I think we kind of discussed what are the things we can do better next time. So yeah, if anyone has any thoughts on that, feel free to let me know or say it in the Slack. So yeah, just wanted to.
Uh, I think it worked well in Europe, so I guess it would be nice to do it again. But well, I don't know if there will be many people there from Akri, so maybe it won't be possible. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. Last year or in Europe, it was like there were AM and PM shifts. So even though I was like technically the only person in the booth, it wasn't too bad. Because I think Kate was off doing her own thing with Awazim and Fermion. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. And for CFP, we can like submit this CFP, which is for the main KubeCon. But I think in a month they'll also have deadline for the co-located events. So, last year not last year, in Europe, my talk was for the Kubernetes on Edge Day, not for like the actual KubeCon. So yeah, it could be like more specific to that. Yeah, if anyone has ideas, feel free to let me know. The next thing on the agenda that I want to talk about is that I don't know if you all got this email, but I think the CNCF TOC annual review is due. So I'm just gonna share my screen actually. Yeah, so I'm not really familiar with this process actually. I don't think I've ever had to do like an annual review like this, and I'm sure Kate would know more about it. But basically it seems like, yeah, we need to do this annual report. We just have to like put in a PR, and I'm assuming we'll probably have to talk about, what have we done in the past year. And once we make that PR, I think they'll review it and we should be good to go. So I can try to take a stab at this, and we can have one of the maintainers, since I'm like technically not a main maintainer. So maybe, yeah, Nicholas or Johnson, you can help me raise a PR so we can get this review going.
I don't know if we have been set as maintainer on CNCF platform. So
That's right.
and I also I think it's better if this is a maintainer that was there for the previous year, because
Yeah.
it feels a bit strange to be writing an annual review for something you weren't here.
Yeah. I think so. We should talk to Kate and others for the project. For previously. So yeah, I think we should follow up with Kate about the TSC annual review. Also, you guys are not official CNCF maintainers yet, so we should probably
Well,
also
that I don't know.
on
In
that.
fact, it's rather an unknown that
I
something
will
sure.
check on this. Yeah, because yeah, I think you guys are made maintainers on the code, but I'm not sure about, yeah, the CNCF platform.
And
So,
I think that Edric and Kate both managed this previously. So I tried to look to see if there was a previous annual review like this, and just found the submission to become a CNCF member, well, CNCF project, and I saw that it was Kate and Edric that managed this, so they are probably the one to know more about it.
CNCF maintainers. Okay. Sounds good. And now I think we can talk about the next release. So, I was hoping that we can maybe cut a release this month. So maybe we can talk about like what are the PRs we want to get in. Yeah, maybe we can just like kind of go through these quickly one by one. So Johnson, do you want to give an update on this one?
I'll push a new iteration today. There are some discussed points that like a code duplication. So I refactor the change to animate the code duplication. So this one should be ready to review by end of day today. Then I think we should pick up this if for the June release if possible.
Sounds good. 1 second. I'm going to reshare. So I can take notes on the side. Cool. Nicholas, were you able to look at this as well? And maybe after Johnson makes the change today or whenever, do you think you'd be able to take a quick look at it?
Yeah, I took a look at the first version. Didn't have time to look at since then, but I'll try to have a look at it when the new version comes out.
So we in this PR we will add an option to this that user to decide what the configuration level resource behavior is. So the configuration label resource can repo virtual device as per instance or per device usage. So by default, it will be per instance. So you won't run into the problem, say, I want 2 configuration resource, and then both resources end up mapping to the same instance. And that means you even you run the workload, then you actually attach to one device instead of the 2 different devices. There might be a scenario that user want to kind of treat every instance device usage kind of unique. So in that case, they can set the option to use to kind of take different behavior. So there's some add-on for this PR. So the current iteration only treat the only expose the configuration level resource at the device usage label. So the new iteration will include the option in the configuration and also have the 2 different behavior for the configuration level resource based on the setting in configuration.
Okay, and I guess all the things we mentioned are addressed in the newer versions, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Cool. I guess Kate asked if we're able to demo this, but I don't think it's ready yet. Maybe we can do like a quick like demo scenario, like record it and post it in the Slack or something like that. But yeah, we can discuss that offline. And then, so we have this one. Yeah, Josh, you wanna talk?
This one, I would like to, so the change is ready, but I would like to get like remember we talked about the AES, like in temp FS approach. So I would like to get that kind of understand that more in order to confirm if we want to make additional change for this or not. So there's no rush to get this in.
If you want to have more look into different approaches there, maybe we can put this one as draft or something, so we know that it's still there's still things that are not ready.
Yeah, I can put it in the draft.
Thanks.
So we'll maybe get this into a later release then. Sounds good. This one.
Okay, this one is an upgrade of some dependencies. It depends on another merge request or pull request. Sorry, that is the one for well, what's the name of it? It's the protobuf compiler to cross build. So since when the protobuf compiler pull request got merged, it's already approved So when I merge it, there will be no more failing tests for this one.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so we can definitely get this in. Is this like a similar?
Yeah, this is the one that needs
Okay,
to be
this
merged
looks
before.
okay. I can merge this right now.
So I have a question about when you merge that. So do we keep the history in the developer branch? So usually when we do the merge, we just squash all the change into one.
Well, I never looked into what we do by default for the merge here. I usually tend to keep the history
Even well,
oh, I'm sorry.
because there will be a lot of like a update version, those kind of things emerge that will make this history really difficult to read.
Yeah, I usually like the pull request sender to kind of squash it the way he wants, because sometimes you still want to have multiple commits. But yeah, I don't know what is the right
If
way to
you
do.
so the change history in that developer will show in the PR record, right? So if you trace back to the PR, then you will see the iteration history, and the commit shouldn't, well, in my opinion, the commit shouldn't be that shouldn't need that complicated history data.
Okay, I guess we can try to see if we can, well, change the default to squashing instead of merging like it's done right now. If everyone's, well, if no one's against it, of course. I don't really care from my point of view, as long as the history is readable and comprehensive.
All right. Yeah, I took a note of that. Okay, this one, it looks like it was approved.
Yeah, I there was do not merge label. I don't know if everything is right now.
Yeah, it looks like she removed it, but some
Okay,
checks are, I think it needs to be versioned now.
yeah.
So we can get this in soon. Oh yeah, this is a nice one. Adding the icon to the home chart. Yeah, again, I think this just needs to be
Yeah, it's just need to add the version on it.
Thanks for this one. And then this one.
Well, this one is not yet approved, but it fixed a nasty bug, in fact. Currently, when you modify a configuration and you have multiple configuration for a given discovery handler, say you have two UDEV configuration or two NVIF configuration, if you modify one of these or delete one of these, it will freeze the other one. So the other one won't get any update on plugged or unplugged devices. So and this fixes that. So I think we're going to want that in the release.
Absolutely. Um, So yeah, maybe we can sync on Slack, Nicholas, to like get the release train going again, like last time, and then yeah, we can go from there.
Yeah, I try to merge everything alone when it got enough time after the initial approval, so that someone else can still have time to have a
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
But yeah, so we have less PRs to merge than last time.
Yeah. Cool. And then it looks like this one is a draft. Do you want-
Yeah, something I just took to reduce the number, well, the risk of crash from the controller in case something goes wrong when creating the broker pod or job. I just put it in draft. So there was a lot of discussion on the linked bug, and so it's more like a request for comments or anything, so that we can have that discussion around this PR.
Awesome. Yeah, this looks like a great fix. And yeah, we can maybe get it into the release after this next one. Um, Depends, but yeah, awesome. Thank you. And then, so I would like to have a bug bash, and I think last time we just did kind of an asynchronous bug bash. Is everyone still okay with that?
Yes, from my point of view, it's still the easiest one to manage.
Cool. So yeah, I think the main like scenario we'll need to test will obviously be this, configuration level resource. So yeah, Johnson and I can probably work to get some scenarios out, and then I'll put a draft of the doc in the Slack, and then people can like comment if we feel like we need to add more scenarios, if there are other edge cases that we didn't think about. So, and then from there, we can have like a week or so to bug bash and then cut the release. So does that sound good with everyone? Is there anything else about this month's release?
Well, I think it will be a pretty straightforward release. Right now, there are nothing that got merged that raised the minor versions. That's only patch. So I guess the configuration level device plugin will be the only real feature. So yes, would be easier in a way. Just we have to make sure we have a piece of documentation for the configuration level device plugin as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think for the last one, we actually didn't cut a release for the docs, which we definitely should for this release. So that's actually a good point. Other than the configuration level resource, is there anything else from this release or the last release that we should get in the docs?
I think the docs was all right, but I just thought about something we don't do, and I think we might want to do is when we do release, we currently only do a simple tag. Maybe we want to do a full-fledged GitHub release so it gets more highlighted by GitHub and can be picked up by the the CNCF bot, for example, that has a metric about number of release.
Oh, so
I think there's one thing that we need to update in the doc. So we fix an issue that if there are multiple instance used by a workload, So the environment variable will be we suffix instance ID to the environment variables. So that part is not, the documentation for that is not updated yet.
Oh, I thought it was. Oh, well, I don't remember.
Let's check if that is added. Going back to the release thing, can you explain exactly what that means? Because like, so okay, we have this, and yeah, last time we had this tag. What do you mean like a full-fledged GitHub?
Oh, okay. So that's just because it's marked as a pre-release, so it doesn't show up in the CNCF matrix. Okay, that's why.
Have the other ones? Okay, yeah, I think we've just been marking them as pre-release. Should
Yeah, we mark them
start?
all as pre-release. That's why.
Yeah,
Because I was surprised to see no release when you were on the homepage of the project. It doesn't show any release in the rights, and it doesn't show up in the CNCF board
I see.
as well.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we can talk about like what is the criteria for us to be like no longer in pre-release. I think that's like a topic we should talk about. I feel like, yeah, like Akri is not like quite production ready yet, obviously. Like there's a lot of gaps. But I feel like once we get like the security stuff in and some other like big fixes, we'll be like really on our way. And then, you know, recently Johnson and I were talking about security as well, like threat modeling. So we actually had a threat model done for Akri 2 years ago, and we were just like wondering like when would be a good time like to update that, like do we need to update that, or are we good because not enough like architectural changes have been made. I'm not really sure. And where was this?
I think it's probably worth at least going through and getting some additional feedback on.
Yeah.
One of the things that, so I was at a conference a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to some of the OPC Foundation people. And one of the things that I learned from them was actually that you don't want to like continually run your the discovery protocols. And so that might be like, so I think that there's probably places where the core piece of Akri's threat model can be like more tightly scoped, and then the discovery handlers might need their own model, right?
Sorry, could you
And
repeat that actually?
yeah, so I mean, so there's the core Akri threat model, right, of the Akri server, the daemons, right? It's patterns and the containers that are in it. And then there's also kind of each of the protocols, each of the discovery handlers, they would have their own threat model. And I think being clear about that demarcation is probably useful. And I haven't gone through these docs to know if that's already called out or not, right? But there's probably places where the core threat model is relatively tightly scoped and we know about it, and it probably doesn't need to change too much. But some of the discovery handlers will have their own, and they're probably going to change maybe a little bit more regularly.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Yeah, I think it would be worth looking at this to see because this is like, yeah, I feel like it's mostly for core, and it would be pretty important for us to do a threat modeling of that as well. So maybe that's something that we can work together on in the next upcoming weeks and months.
Quickly looking at the diagram, it was made before the split between the agent and the discovery handlers. So it was made when the agent was embedding all the discovery handlers. So I guess that's why there's no differentiation between both scopes.
Yeah, so we should probably take a look at this again as well.
So, the discovery handler can be implemented by anyone. So the reviewing the threat model and review for discovery handler, do we just do it for the inbox, the ONBIF and the OPCUA open source discovery handler?
I guess we have to do it for the core and then specify the threat model of the core against the discovery handlers, and then specifically do one for every discovery handler we include. And
Okay.
say if you have another one, then that's your call.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. So, right now that would be OPCUA on this and UDEV. On when we start to like look at the threat model of like the discovery handlers, maybe we can like document that process a little and like make a guideline for if anyone makes discovery handlers in the future, like what can they do to look at the threat modeling. Sounds good. Is there anything else? Yeah, I guess like what else? Are there any other criteria for us to like no longer be in pre-release? Does anyone have any thoughts about that?
There's one. There's an issue about testing in end-to-end all the, well, in fact, the discovery handler we include. Doing this by testing the well, the examples we have in the documentation. So I guess this one would be really useful to say that we are confident in saying this is production ready.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, yeah, it would be worthwhile for us to look at those examples again too, and like see if anything needs to be updated. And then, yeah, implementing them in our GitHub actions, so they can be tested. And I think we have an issue opened on that already, right?
Yeah, that's one I created last month. So
I think similar to the threat models, we could make a distinction between production ready of the core components and each discovery handlers, right? Because I don't want to be gated on the readiness of, say, the OPCUA discovery. I don't know its readiness, right? But I don't want to be gated by like one of the discovery handlers when the rest of the platform is ready.
Right. No, yeah, that makes sense. And I know we've had discussions about splitting up the repo previously. I wonder if that would go with this so that we can like make actual releases of the core components and then cut separate pre-release of the discovery handlers.
I guess that could be an idea. The subject came back in the 613 issue about their experience. So with UDEV thing. So I guess, yeah, it could be a nice thing to reconsider splitting everything.
Yeah. I forget which issue we had on this. I think we have looked at it and tried to assign it, but I don't
Yeah,
think.
it's the one that is linked in the in my
Oh,
comment.
yeah, you're right. Perfect. So it looks like someone's assigned, but we haven't seen any. So I can maybe make a comment on this. Okay. Sounds good. Is there anything else? All right. I think now we can move to issue triage. Nicholas, do you want to let me give you I think I have to give you a host.
Yeah, so I will share my screen on the project if it works.
Yeah, let me know if it works.
So this one. So do you see the project page? Yeah.
Yeah.
So in triage, so we'll have 6 issues. So the first one, well, is the one linked to the PR we already discussed about fixing all the issue with modifying the configuration. So I'll put this one in progress. As we already discussed, I won't go any longer on this. There's something there about UDEV and predictable resource IDs. So it's a user that has an issue about having non-predictable environment variables names, so that his scripts cannot do easily, but don't deal easily with this. So we have some discussion about it. So I think it's more or less solved with the configuration level device plugin for this one, even though it's not completely solved. But I think it will do the trick for the user. So I think I'm gonna put this in investigating, so that when the configuration level device plugin is done, we can come back to this and see if it is enough.
So can you explain to me why configuration level resource will help on this issue?
He tried to, well, he has only one device, and he is annoyed that the device changes name when it's plugged on a different on a different node, or that the device doesn't have a fixed name if it's plugged on another well, part of the node, or that well, that he only has one device and it still has the suffix of the instance to the to the to the environment variable's name. So the configuration level device plugin will solve this, as it will be able to schedule his workload using the configuration level device, and it will be good, I think.
The configuration level resource, let's say, expose one device from the configuration level resource. So the environment variable, everything that exposed to the broker will be exactly the same as the one exposed by instance level resource. So
it's only solve half of its problem.
Yeah.
So it only solves the scheduling the workload,
Yeah,
but
so
not the.
it will be
Okay.
treated as a different device. So if the name changed.
Yes, of course. So yeah, it only solves half of it. I don't know if it's even possible to solve this. So I'll put this in investigating and we'll see. The upgrade Docker image from Debian Buster to Bullseye is the pull request we also looked at, so in progress. And I guess I can also, in fact, have it assigned to Jean-Benoit. There. And same for this one, I can just assign it to myself. Then we have an issue about upgrading the .NET binaries to a supported version. The examples we have in the project are in .NET, but they haven't been updated since the creation, I think. So someone may have to look into this, but I don't know if we still have .NET developers in the project. So I guess it will be backlog for this unless someone wants to be assigned on this. Then we have the macOS developer experience. So this one we already took a quick look at it. And it comes back with the splitting everything, issue. So I guess we can just put this one in investigating as well and see what we can do to handle this. If we want to split everything, how we want to split it. So I guess there's some discussion to have on this before doing anything. And the last one is the CNCF annual review. So we already discussed that. So I think I'll put that one in backlog, but we shouldn't forget about it, this one. So, and that was it for the issue needing triage. I don't know if you want to bring up some specific issue or something that is already triaged but need to some care or anything.
I don't have any specific issues that come to mind, and feel free to jump in if you do. And thank you, Nicholas, for the issue triage. But I think maybe not this meeting, but for the next meeting, I think it would be nice to talk about sort of, so what we did last year was we had some bugs and issues that we wanted to fix by the next KubeCon. And I think that's like a really great way for us to stay on track, and we'll have something new to showcase if we do go to KubeCon. So yeah, maybe in the next meeting we can talk about what are maybe 5 or 6 issues that we really want to work on and get into a release before the next KubeCon. So yeah, is there anything else that anyone wants to discuss, or action items or questions? All right, if not, thank you everyone for joining, and I'll see you guys next month, and we'll stay in contact through Slack about this next release. Cool.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.